Okay, Swampwatch 1:11:20. This may not be a long one. We'll see how it goes. I got about 2 hours sleep last night and some kind of a cold or something. Anyway, pretty stuffed up. Huber, it looks like there aren't going to be any charges for his investigation, but don't worry about it. Durham is the guy who's probably going to come in with the indictments. I'm not sure that Huber, because I don't believe he's a prosecutor. I think he's more like an IG, but it really doesn't make any difference. He still could have recommended charges, but I think they're putting all of the eggs in Durham's basket. And one of the reasons is, they've said that Durham's report isn't going to come out till late spring or early summer. And I think that's just a ploy. I think they're putting that out there because they want the deep state to think that they won't arrest anybody until late spring or early summer. I don't think they're going to wait that long. I mean, they've got 140,000 sealed indictments. They definitely have indictments on the top people. I think they're going to arrest before the Durham report comes out, or they'll arrest, and it could be any day now, and then they'll release the Durham report right after the arrest, so people can kind of see why these people were arrested. I've talked about this for quite a while. When they give the people the facts of what all went on here with FISA, and he's looking at everything. He's looking at any criminality he could find. He's been working on this thing for a couple of years now, and the story is he's got over 500 prosecutors working under him. You can see, how they got 140,000 sealed indictments, because, like I said, I think they've been working on this since President Trump was inaugurated. So don't get rattled. Nothing's happening. A lot is happening. They're doing this the smart way, and like I've said, we don't even really want to focus on it that much, except to be prepared for it when it comes. We need to focus on what we're doing. And I'll go to my intro, which I forgot. So I'm not selling anything here. I don't monetize the videos. I don't accept donations, and I don't charge any fees for anything I do. Alls I ask is that if you gain anything from this, you learn something, you earn money on your investments, then you pay it forward. And for those of you who were here that were last night, I got another message, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's not really anything different than we have been talking about, just exactly what I explained to you there, except for there's clarification. I've been saying that to pay it forward, you basically just do whatever you want. In other words, there's no set fee or percentage of whatever you earn. It's whatever you are moved to pay forward. Hopefully, it's going to be substantial, but that's between you and God. The clarification came from, and I've mentioned this many times over the past few years, and more recently, because it's more We're getting close to that time. God has not been happy um, with the church, the Catholic Church for sure. But um, what our version of church is, what church has turned into. This is not what God intended. God never intended us to sit in a building for an hour a week and basically call it good and tithe our 10% or whatever it is. Um, that's not what God wanted ever. Uh, when you do some research on this, God wanted in-home churches. God didn't want money wasted on buildings. Um, God wants those tithings to go out to our neighbors and our relatives who need it. Um, that we're going to basically, they called it the way in Jesus' day. It was meeting informally in people's homes, talking about you know because remember then there was no Bible. There wasn't a Bible till 300 A.D. I think 330, Council of Nicaea. So they were just talking about the message, which was the same thing we're saying. Um, Putting others first, living your life in the service of others, paying it forward, however you want to put it. That's the main reason for the Litecoin and the silver is certainly to put us in a good position financially so that our families and friends and relatives can thrive. But the main purpose, he wants his new church, which is just what I explained, built on the foundation of Litecoin and silver. In other words, that's what we're going to use to start this movement, getting away from buildings, getting away from the tithing to a minister or a bishop. There's no, in God's church, there is no hierarchy. There's no pope. There's no minister. There's no leaders. We get together as groups, and I've recommended, especially right now, it's a perfect time to start these groups as neighborhood watches. What better way as watchmen to get this ball rolling? To go to your neighbors and listen, the economy is tanking. When the economy tanks, the crime rate goes up. This is stuff that we need to be concerned about. And it all folds in together. The government is asking us to have 6 months worth of food for our family. We bring all this together. We don't even have to talk about, the satanic pedophilia at first. It's a way to get the conversation started and to get the ball rolling until you see who you're working with, and then you can bring them along slowly. The bottom line is we don't care. God doesn't care. They're not going to care why they got prepared. But they're really going to be happy that they did get prepared when the shit hits the fan. So we can kind of use this as a way to get where we need to be without butting heads with people, right? Without the conflict and in just common sense. I think this is going to catch on like wildfire. The Catholic Church is about ready to fold. I think very soon the Pope is going to step down. The Catholic Church is going to come down from the inside. And the stories are horrific. And the admissions they're going to make are unbelievable. Basically saying that 70% of priests are homosexuals and more than half of them have sexually abused children. More than half. It was a pedophile factory. They were in the Vatican, had a child sex trafficking ring. They were laundering money. I mean, this is it's more like the mafia than a church. When this comes out, and then all the rest of the churches, anybody that's a 501c3, um, that's not what God wanted. God didn't want his church to be under the thumb of a government or a ruler. Independent. Not that we don't have the same goals or similar goals, but they need to be separate from each other. There's no reason to mix them. And it's funny how this works with liberals, because it's okay if it's the Muslim religion, but Christians, we can't have that in school. I mean, it's a joke. It's comical, the way they did this, and that we basically just bought it. It's because people don't understand how long have they not had civics in school. I mean, when I went, they did. I learned about the Constitution. They don't teach it anymore because they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know what our rights are. So when they take them, we don't care because we never knew we had them in the first place. But it's over. All those games are over. The people who are driving this agenda, the globalists, the deep state, the swamp rats, are finished. I mean, it's all over for these guys. So anyway, if you're like-minded, if your goal is to help your fellow man, especially get through the most important time in human history. We're in the middle of the 10-year period, the most important 10 years in the history of mankind. Amazing things are coming. I had a conversation with a couple of people actually today. And what I knew was going to happen is it started to happen a little bit, in that people want to pick at little sections and say that I'm wrong because that's what the Bible says, blah, 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 blah. Don't miss the point, guys. Things are coming that are unexpected. Things are coming. Confirmations are coming that are going to change everybody's opinion on religion. Everyone's opinion. And not just religion, but science, technology, history. You won't believe how many 30-foot tall complete skeletons they have at the Smithsonian. I mean, bunches. 30-foot tall humanoids. Basically, David and Goliath, he was real. And then all sorts, hundreds, if not thousands, in the 8 to 15 foot size. I mean, it was like, it's kind of like maybe another species of animal, like say with birds, where you got small ones all the way up to ostriches. I think maybe it was the same thing at one time here. We're going to find out that it's completely different than we've been told. The technology they've been suppressing is phenomenal. 0-point energy, cures for cancer, cures for virtually every malady that we have, that they withheld because there's no money in cures. They want to make their money on treatment. The medical profession is going to be totally revamped. The criminal justice system, we went through this last night. I mean, everything's going to be different. All of this, people don't realize how deeply the globalists got their tentacles into our society. They've been working on this for a couple hundred years in America. The good news is that, it's over. Their agenda is dead. And it's going to be very clear to the world very shortly when these arrests start. And here's the thing. they're not gonna arrest people. Say if we get before the election, August might September for sure. I think might be too late. Because I don't think they want it on top of the election just for the optics of it. Not that it couldn't happen. I mean, legally they can arrest them whenever they want. But I think for the sake of the country, they'll do it earlier rather than later. I'm thinking by late spring or sooner. I mean, this literally could go down any day. I think they're ready where they could do this almost whenever they want. But it's coming. And however long it is, whether it's next week or next month or in July, we've got to be ready for it. And we've got to use every single day with our work, reaching out to people, getting our last minute prepping done, and helping as many people as we can get ready for this. That's what this page is about. That's what our objective is. To get our country prepared, as many people in our country prepared as we can, to take the pressure off President Trump and the government. The more people that are prepared, the less they're going to have to do. And we don't know for sure. I don't think it's going to go worst case scenario. Like worst case scenario is banks close, stores close, power goes out, communications go down, martial law is declared. I don't think it's going to go worst case. I think that he's going to keep the power on. I think he's going to keep food in the grocery stores. There will be martial law, 90%, sure. And that's just because they expect massive civil unrest. And it's going to come from both, senior citizens, because when this happens, when this economy goes down, all paper assets are going to zero. Your bank account, your stocks, your bonds, pension funds, 401ks are all going to zero. So you could imagine somebody my age in their 60s or 70s who now can't access their bank account or can only take out $100 a day, and they're not getting their check anymore, Social Security check. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people. And it's better to be prepared for that and have the Marines and the National Guard ready to go just to keep the peace. And the other thing is there are going to be, I think, probably hundreds of sleeper cells released. Fast and Furious was not about Mexican drug cartels. It was about helping MS-13, mainly, distribute those guns to radical Muslim terrorist camps in America. There were, I think the FBI had over 100 of them identified. Of course, they never busted a single one. Does that give you a hint? Because they didn't want to bust them. They were helping them get ready for this moment in time so that they could turn them loose, 3 or 4 guys at a time in a mall, in a church, at a sporting event. We need to be ready like the people in Texas were ready. And all of these attacks on the Second Amendment are a distraction. President Trump is going to end that distraction with the signature on an executive order, and he will allow concealed carry. It will be legal nationwide. If you're legal to buy a gun, you will be legal to carry a gun. All of these violations of our Constitution, like what kind of gun you can buy in what state and the magazine capacity, all that crap's going to be removed. All the violations of our Constitution by the time President Trump's gone, by the end of his second term, are going to be addressed, are going to be fixed, corrected. We're going to go back to the purest interpretation of our Constitution. The liberals try to say it's a living document. In other words, it's gonna evolve over time. No, that's not what they intended. Um, they have no right, legal right, to restrict anything to do with firearms. I'll tell you, they'd be on rocky ground limiting us from full auto because this, what they want to convince the sheep of is that um, that the Second Amendment was about hunting and target practice. It was not at all about recreational shooting or target practice or hunting. It was about 100% exclusively about being able to fight back against a tyrannical government. That means our founders would say, especially in the small arms, that we should all have full auto. And that, don't be surprised if that happens. Listen, me personally, I think it's a mistake to have people that are mostly, there are going to be a lot of people out there that haven't been trained in the military. To me, a full auto is just wasting a lot of ammo for the average person because most people don't know how to use it. So I don't think it's a huge advantage one way or the other. We're going to have overwhelming numbers in any scenario. In a sporting event, just look at what happened at the church. There were, I think, 5 or 6 guns on this guy before he hit the ground. I think it was only 1 or 2 guys got shots off, but I think that one of the first shots hit him in the head. And then there was 5 or 6 other people around the church that had already drawn and, were there waiting in case he didn't go down. That's what's going to happen. That's what it's going to be gang members and radical Muslims that are going to pull this. And I think it's going to be pretty short-lived because they're going to get annihilated anytime they try it. Anytime they go in, especially after the executive order, and especially if I think what's going to trigger it is there'll be a run, maybe, 3 or 4 or 5 in a week with maybe heavy casualties. And it might only take 1 or 2 before he puts this out because he's already kind of threatened it. So he will not leave us defenseless. And honestly, if it gets to that point, we all should be concealed carrying anyway. Think about it. Would you rather have a violation for carrying concealed without a license, or would you rather save your family in one of those scenarios? Take me to court. If it gets to that point where these things are happening on a daily basis, everybody needs to conceal carry. And I think President Trump is going to step up and do the right thing. So the bottom line here, guys, is we're on the right track. Everything's moving along great. I can't believe how easy it is today compared to even a year ago or 6 months ago. People are looking for answers. When you look at all of the missteps that the deep state and the mainstream media have made, with all of their crying wolf, the Russia collusion, the Ukrainian collusion, at every turn, now they got the impeachment going. People are starting to wake up because they're seeing this behavior that makes absolutely no sense. When you dig into this stuff, if you'll take 5 minutes and do an independent research, don't go to the mainstream media, go on the internet, and you research some of these things, within 5 minutes, you can understand that there's nothing. I mean, the impeachment, the 2 articles, neither one of them are a crime. I just think about that. So even if they voted and said, oh, yeah, okay, he was guilty of obstructing Congress, which they're saying obstructed Congress because he went to the Supreme Court. That's how our system works. When you have a different disagreement in the three branches of government, you take it to the Supreme Court. So, do you see how crazy that is? So, doing what he's legally obligated to do when these situations come up, they're claiming that's obstruction. It's, if we had a legitimate mainstream media, they would have blown this up. But still, if you've got an IQ over 50 and you'll take 5 minutes, it's black and white on all of this stuff. The Mueller investigation, the Ukrainian blah, blah, on and on and on. Everything they're dredging up. Listen, President Trump is the most analyzed president in our history. I mean, they have dug as deep as they could. And trust me, if they would have found anything, it would have been front page news as soon as they got it. There's not a thing they have. And that's why they're making themselves look like fools by pushing these agendas forward that people are just scratching their head. Are you kidding? Look at hashtag walkaway. Democrats are leaving in droves, jumping on the Trump train. You can't cry wolf forever and think it's going to keep working. Just like you can't use the false flags forever from the deep state and the globalist. Everybody's on to their games. Nobody's buying it anymore. You know, when they pull a false flag, go on the internet 5 minutes later, and there will already be 40 people with videos out picking apart what happened and showing you that it's a false flag and the evidence. They can't win. Everything they try blows up in their face, and everything President Trump does turns to gold. It's over, guys. How do you beat God? Explain that to me. I mean, good versus evil. God or Satan? Who do you think's going to win? I mean, it's clear cut. It's over. There's nothing they can do to stop what's coming. And they know it now. You can see it in their faces. Yeah. Iran, swept by protest, demanding the Ayatollah resign. They shot down that plane, right? Now there's a rumor out that plane supposedly had many Iranian dissidents that they were fleeing the country and they were going to take them into Canada. So that could be another thing that kind of, because was it then really an accident? Or are they just claiming it was an accident because they wanted to take those people out? We'll see how that develops. Iran's never going to have nukes. Merkel and Putin are right now trying to talk up the Iran deal and salvage it. It's not going to happen. And what they're saying is Iran needs it for their nuclear power, blah, blah, blah. Got to have power. I think that's going to be fixed with the 0-point energy. Everybody's going to have power, wherever you want it. So it's not a big deal. They won't need nuclear energy for their power plants. 0 point. I think it'll be on the market within 2 years for sure. Maybe sooner than that. We'll see. But they've got all that technology. Anti-gravity technology. The reason they're not worried about the infrastructure, because they're not going to rebuild it. We don't need it. When you have cars that fly, you don't need roads or bridges. They'll be tearing most of that stuff out. So, I mean, when you look at what's coming, all of the technology, the medical advances, all the big changes that are coming. Somebody got upset because I said there was going to be, heaven on earth or paradise on earth. What? How could you be upset about that? I'm challenging the Christians who are thinking that this is somehow off or wrong. Name one thing that I'm saying here that Jesus didn't say 2,000 years ago. This is what he wants. This is what's coming, whether you're ready for it or not. And the only people I see protesting are the people that are getting cut out, the ministers. 85,000 American ministers, 85,000 were paid by FEMA. Clergy response teams. Google it. Basically, they were going to turn their flocks into FEMA camps. That's what their job, why they were getting paid, was to use Romans 13 to get people to submit to FEMA and the FEMA camps. That's what your ministers have been doing. 501c3, the government's controlling your church. You can't talk about abortion there. There should be no government control over churches. And there won't. There won't, because it's not going to be about the money anymore. It's not going to be about writing off your taxes, what you donate. We're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. Not because we're getting a discount on our taxes. But number one, there aren't going to be any taxes. So, except for sales tax, I think that's a done deal, I think. That when this reset happens, the IRS is gone. Just think about that. Getting rid of the IRS, getting rid of the CIA, probably the FBI, the central banks. I mean, just look at the money we're going to save on salaries when the government. I mean, it's crazy how many people work for the government anymore. Our founders are rolling over in the graves when they see how they bastardized their dream for our country. They had us on the brink, and God and President Trump had a different idea, and I think it changed everything. We still have free will. That election could have gone either way between President Trump and Clinton. And remember, they saw the rallies. They knew what the real numbers were, but they were going to cheat, so they didn't care. That's why Hillary didn't campaign. We're going to just cheat. We got, 10 million dead people that are going to vote for Clinton. Well, look what happened. They underestimated us. They underestimated President Trump. It was the biggest mistake they ever made. Clinton said it the best after the commander-in-chief debate where Matt Lauer blindsided her with a question about the emails that he wasn't supposed to ask her. It wasn't on the script that she got. And you could see it in her face. Steam was coming out her ears. When she got off the stage, she threw something at Donna Brazil, and something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, "You brown cow, you better fix this or we're all going to hang." That's what Clinton said to Brazil after the commander-in-chief. And that was one question. These people are monsters. Justice will be served. Anybody guilty of treason, anybody guilty of murder is going to be executed. We're going to eradicate this evil from the face of the earth. Economy's going to collapse. We're going to clean out all the bankers, the crooked bankers. We're going to use the executive order from 12/21/17 that allows the government to seize the assets of any person or corporation that's involved in human trafficking or corruption. That's all of them. Amazon, Google, Twitter, Facebook, all going to be seized. The assets are going to be seized. All those guys are going to prison or going to be executed. Because a lot of them were not just criminal in the things they did to get the money that they have and the assets that they have, but they were conspiring with others to remove a duly elected president. There's going to be CEOs. There's going to be newscasters. Just wait till you see how far the reach is. And it's exactly what needs to happen. And it's going to be the end to all of the naysayers who are saying, well, nothing's ever going to happen. You know how many thousands of times I've heard that in the last 5 years plus. Something is happening. Something's happening right now. It's almost over, guys. We are close. Anyway, no nukes for Iran. A lot of sanctions. People are rioting over there. There's going to be a regime change there, I think, soon. 30 days, 60 days. It's happening right now. The people have been emboldened by what's going on with us, and what's happening in their own country. Analysts are saying Bitcoin is going to go up at least 100% in 2020. I've heard 300,000, which is a lot more than 100%. And I think that number is pretty spot on. So we'll see this year, but cryptos are ready to soar. I mean, Litecoin was up over 51 this morning. It dropped back down a little bit. I think it's going to keep going, guys. Don't wait. Get it while you can. There's only 20 million left. 7.5 billion people in the world, and there's only 20 million Litecoin left. Goes like that when this thing blows up. Within hours, Litecoin will be sold out. All of the fear porn out there. There's going to be no gun confiscations in America. It's not going to happen on President Trump's watch. He will write an executive order before he'll allow a state to do that. No one's going to violate our Second Amendment rights. He doesn't want Americans shooting it out with each other, and that's what it would come to if they tried it. He's not going to let it happen. He knows it's wrong. He knows it's illegal, and it will not happen. Guaranteed. The UN's not going to come and invade us or come to take our guns. I mean, I laugh every time I hear that, and I hear it probably once a day at least. Explain how that's going to happen. The UN has 1 million troops worldwide. 1 million worldwide. If they could get them all 1 million in America, they'd be exterminated within a week. No air support against 320 million Americans with 500 million guns and billions of rounds of ammunition. Oh, and the most powerful military the world has ever seen. So how long do you think those million troops would last? Not long. And they got no air support. They would be crushed. We might not have to fire a shot. The technology we have could probably take them all out without a casualty on our side. You have to understand where this is coming from, guys. This is fear porn. This is clickbait. This is either guys trying to earn more money by getting you to click on their videos, or the deep state trying to distract us and get us riled up, hoping that they get a civil war started this way. It's not going to happen. They're not taking the guns. There's not going to be any civil war. There's not going to be any invasions. There's not going to be any world war. There's not going to be any nuclear exchanges. Trust the plan. It's all good, guys. Just let me make sure I got all this before I go to questions. Oh, and the central bankers are all panicking. because they got no ammunition left. When this recession hits, it's going straight to the bottom. They don't have anything to help prop it up anymore. They've shot all their bullets. They're out of ammunition, and they know it. And there's nothing they can really do. Like I said, nobody controls this economy. It's so out of control. They couldn't. I mean, it's gone. What's going to happen is going to happen. A stiff breeze is going to knock this thing over. I mean, there are 50 triggers out there that could bring it down in a day. On top of the fact that eventually the deep state will collapse it if President Trump lets it get too close to the election. They'll collapse it as an attack on him. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that far. You know, August, September next year, this year. I think this is over way before that. Let's see. I think that's it. Okay, let's see what we got for questions. Lisa, how you doing? Lisa's been a big help with our live chats. And Facebook has been deleting our live chats too. I mean, we probably lost, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was probably 10 plus. But we still saved most of them. So, or Lisa did. Let's see. See. Okay, Gary, Bill, David, how you guys doing? Gene, Cynthia. Yeah, guys, cryptocurrency, it's a volatile market. Up and down, but it's going to go up and down with an upward trend. So, and it's going to get a moonshot here very soon when the economy goes. So, hang in there. Danny, how's it going? Tessie, how you doing? Kelly, what's up? Keith. Yeah, I got about 2 hours sleep last night. Gary's saying that he heard President Trump is using the central banks to pump up the economy. Yeah, I mean that's the only reason it's where it's at is because they're pumping all this liquidity into the markets. The Fed is, and they're almost they can't do it forever, guys. Either they run out or they create hyperinflation. You can't keep pouring money into an economic system without at some point running into hyperinflation. Happened in Weimar, Germany, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, have all been through it. It takes a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. That's where we're headed if they keep printing. It's a mathematical certainty that this economy is going to collapse. The debt is overwhelming. The worldwide debt is overwhelming. There's $1 quadrillion in derivatives. Just think about that. That's why there has to be a reset, because you can't unravel this mess. It's been so manipulated. It's been so corrupt. You can't fix it. I mean, you couldn't untangle it if you spent 5 years. That's why there's got to be a reset, because you're never going to get this thing unwound. Randy, how you doing? Michael? Kathleen, how you doing? Rita? Yeah, in Iran, yeah. Well, they had to admit it because they had it on video. They knew exactly where that rocket came from. They were stuck. They tried to deny it at first. I mean, they did deny it at first, but they got caught. And I haven't confirmed that story yet um, about the possibility of there being dissidents, Iranian dissidents on that plane, but it would, fits the MO for them. If they could get guys they really wanted, they had to kill an extra 100 people, they wouldn't blink an eye. I mean, you see what they do every day. Kathleen moved all of her Litecoin out of Coinbase onto her ledger. Awesome. That's a relief, I bet. And listen, guys, it's not that critical like it has to be done tonight, but you do want to get your coins out of Coinbase sooner rather than later. I think from the time the economy collapses, it would be weeks before Coinbase would fold if it was going to fold. They're the most stable exchange on the market, I believe. But just for safety sake, you want to have your coins out of there because they can collapse. It's an exchange. And if they go down, you're probably not going to get your Litecoin. Yeah, they're releasing prisoners all over. New York, California, they're doing it. Don't worry about that. Listen, all of these issues, these criminals with all of the illegal aliens, don't worry about it. There's a plan in place. It will be taken care of. I think they're eventually going to ban Muslims from the United States. They have to. Listen, read the Quran. These people will not swear an oath to America on a Bible. Listen, and in their religion, they actually tell you if you have to lie to infiltrate a new country, it's not a sin for them. No, you're supposed to do that. I just look at what they allow. It's barbaric. Bestiality, pedophilia, honor killings. Your wife gets raped and you can stone her to death. It's her fault. Are you kidding me? In 2020, it's embarrassing that we allowed this to go as far as we did. There's no place in the world for Islam unless, and they're never gonna reform that religion. And it's not really a religion. It's a social movement. It's really a military movement disguised as a religion. I mean, it's they throw gays off of buildings. How in the hell can liberals, how ignorant do you have to be? How ignorant do you have to be as a liberal, a gay liberal, supporting this crap that all of their politicians are supporting? They're basically supporting the murder of their constituents. Because that's what would happen eventually. Because eventually that's their game plan. They come in, they're quiet at first, they make their inroads. The more they build their population, the more aggressive they get. And you can see it right now in the UK. In fact, I hear even in Dearborn, there are no-go zones. In America, that's going to change real quick too. You can't walk your dog. You can't drink. Jesus. And what a bunch of hypocrites. My God, they're all a bunch of pedophiles. And then they want to throw gays off of buildings. They rape little boys. But that's not gay. Because they're little boys. It's just unbelievable. and they still want to say a religion of peace. How can you, if you spend more than 15 minutes looking into this, you're going to find out that it's not a religion of peace. It's not really a religion at all. Okay, guys. That's all the questions. I'm stuffed up. So I think I'm going to end it here. Remember, be careful, cautious when you're reaching out to people. Think about starting these neighborhood watches. I think it's exactly what we need. It's setting the stage for what's coming, getting ahead of the game. You know, we don't want to wait to do this until it blows up, right? We got to do it now. I mean, and there, you know, there's power in numbers. You know, you want to group together with somebody, you know, go tribal. You want your friends, your relatives, your neighbors to come together to defend yourselves. And that even rings more true with the possibility of these gangs. I mean, possibly groups of people rolling through, picking off the single homes, you know, with maybe defenders there, husband and wife. Well, you get 15 gang members roll up with automatic weapons. Excuse me. Oh, God. How long do you think they're going to last? You know, that's why, you know, you don't need to tell your neighbors this up front, but it could happen because they're going to say, oh, my God, you know, it's never going to happen in America. That's what they're going to say, most of them. It's going to happen in America. We got to be ready for it. And the neighborhood watches are a great way to go, guys. So anybody who tries it, please report back. I think it'll help everybody else get involved. Okay, guys, I think I'm done for the night. Remember, fear not. God and President Trump are 1,000% in control. We'll see you tomorrow night at 5 Pacific. God bless.